Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barbin. Let's talk football.
All right. So for this one, we don't have both a best ever and a worst ever. This is just straight up worst ever. And this is Bryce Young getting benched. This is really bad. I read an article that said this is the first number one overall QB draft pick since 1967 to be benched in their second season without an injury, without any other reason than just bad play. So Panthers fans, this is as bad as it gets. I feel for you. My suspicion, without any actual knowledge of this or any proof, is David Tepper has to be behind some of this somehow. It's too, I don't know. Like, if you're going to live or die with this guy, just let him play the season out. Like, benching him now is already the admission that you're done with him. And I don't understand why you'd put Dalton in, who's clearly not the quarterback of the future. Again, I just don't think the Geno Smith thing is going to happen. We still don't know. The jury's still out on whatever's going to happen with Sam Darnold here. But, you know, if Dalton was a true starting quarterback, he'd be a starting quarterback. There's enough bad quarterbacks in the NFL that Dalton could start for some of these teams. So this is just an admission that you're done with this guy, it seems like. Otherwise, now you've utterly crushed his confidence. Like, I can't imagine what the coach is saying. He's like, oh, my bad. Maybe you need to sit out and, I don't know, learn something. Like, you've already started a season. They've already traded away the farm for this guy. It's not like he doesn't know that. Like the moves this organization made to get this guy, and now you bench him. What kind of statement is that to the fans? Panthers fans, let us know how you feel about this. What kind of statement is that to Bryce Young and the rest of the team? I just don't understand. Are they just trying to get 6 or 7 wins so next year's draft pick is just lousy? Like, what? It's not good enough? It's not low enough? Like, what? I don't understand what benefit could possibly come from this move.
Yeah, I think that it's first of all, it's significant that he got benched, and like you said, it doesn't happen often. The amount of YouTube clips and articles that are out there right now explaining why he got benched is also prolific. There's many different areas that people are pointing out that was struggling and why this decision came about. I mean, I think you're doing a good job of describing the big picture of like what it means with the team and the draft picks and going forward. I think it comes down to who they're playing next week. They have a better chance of winning if Andy Dalton is a QB versus Bryce Young. So I think it's that simple. I think that's what he's looking at is next game now, and not like.
But think
what
about
they traded
what that,
away.
But that means all of that was for nothing.
Correct.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well, all right. So that's just kind of what I said. It's just all for nothing.
No, I mean, no. It's they thought Bryce Young was going to be great. They gave a season and 2 games to look at it. And then they believe that I'm guessing, I'm speaking for them, that their team is good enough to win more than it has been. And if they're looking at just a 1-game sample next week, that Andy Dalton, the chance of them winning is like 45%. With Bryce Young, it's like 32%. So I think that's all he's looking at it, is just that it's just more with the other quarterback.
I have a note here saying, is this similar to the flexibility of a good organization moving off of a bad player and not sticking with it, a la the 49ers and Trey Lance, the Steelers with Kenny Pickett, the Falcons with Desmond Ridder? Okay, we wasted a pick. He turns out he can't play. Move on. Like, move on. Just move on. But the difference here is all of those teams are putting in at least somebody who might have a future, who hasn't already proved they can't do it. Whereas here, you're just putting in a retread who's proven he's just not a starting quarterback.
So here's a question for you. If you could rewind to the draft earlier this year, if you're Carolina, would you have made it, since he struggled so much last year, would you have used a draft pick to pick a quarterback somewhere?
But they didn't have a draft pick.
0 draft picks? They had
I don't think they had a high enough pick to take a good quarterback because it got traded away.
Should they have taken a quarterback somewhere in the 6 rounds? Because sometimes quarterbacks later in rounds can hit.
Oh, like a Brock Purdy. Yeah. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I kind of do subscribe to the theory. A couple of people have said this. I don't know who's I don't know if it's a GM or they said every year we take a quarterback no matter what in one of the rounds. It's one of the NFL GM's policies, and it might even be the Eagles. I don't know. I can't remember who said it, but it seems to be at least one GM's policy, and I kind of like that. Either an undrafted guy or a later round, fifth or sixth, just especially with how fast quarterbacks are going down. It kind of makes sense, and there's enough proof with a guy like Brady and a guy like Purdy and a few other guys who are way late who ended up being decent starters. You're not spending much money on them if you just happen to hit on one. I mean, it's that concept of taking a draft pick with a quarterback in the lowest rounds is saving the 49ers seasons the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So maybe
not
that's
just saving, like making them, right? Like they were in the Super Bowl. Like that's how many other teams would kill to be in that position.
Yeah. After giving away the farm for a huge bust. So, I mean, if it's a template, I don't know. But if the Panthers, to your point, use the late round pick to grab a quarterback, who knows? Maybe there's a quarterback on a team right now who was picked in a late round that's going to become the next Brock Purdy, and they just haven't got on the field yet. So either way, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer for Panthers fans. You got any closing comments?
No, I think it's, I think they're making the right decision. I don't think putting him out there like that anymore was going to be beneficial. You made a point about this, the first time QB's been benched the second year, like was number one that has had an injury. I think there's also been a couple examples of record low QB ratings and stuff. So it's clearly really, not in a great place. The one point I will make too is that I don't know how good the team is around them, and that's a really difficult situation Joe Montana could walk in and maybe not win with that team. So it's a tough go of it, and they need help. That's for sure.
They sure do. All right. Well, that's a good place to leave this one. Panthers fans, let us know what you think in the comments section.